Carolina.
I'm Dr. Kyle Harner from Carolina Arthritis Center. Living with arthritis or joint pain doesn't have to limit your life. At Carolina Arthritis Center in Greenville, we're Eastern North Carolina's only private, single specialty rheumatology clinic dedicated exclusively to your joint health. Our experienced team offers comprehensive care all under one roof. From consultations and joint injections to on site laboratory, x ray, bone density testing, and our specialized infusion suite. No more running around to multiple locations for your arthritis evaluation. When you need expert rheumatology care, choose the specialist who focus solely on conditions like yours every single day. Carolina Arthritis Center, where your mobility and comfort are our main priority. Call 252 321 8474 or visit carolina-arthritis.com to schedule your consultation today. Again, that number is 252 321 8474. Carolina Arthritis Center, where your journey to health begins.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Yes, good morning, and welcome to another exciting edition of your favorite weekend show, Pitt Perspectives on Awesome Radio Network. 107.5 FM and 1570 AM WECU. And as always, super shout out to everyone listening to us on 102.3 FM and 1450 AM WNOS out in New Bern and surrounding areas. Yes, if you're watching online, you're welcome. We're streaming live on our Pitt Perspectives YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch channels. And you can also listen anywhere around the world by visiting pittperspectives.com and clicking listen live. Yes, as always, I'm your host, your favorite voice on the mic, the man with the jewels, the man with the sauce, the man that I call Victor Ihuka. Yes, and as always, I have my guys, my amigos in the building. Yes, before I get to my amigos, I'm seeing some familiar faces in the chat. Esther Olamma Shedrack says, good afternoon, everyone. Happy to join again today. Yes, Esther, happy to hear you and see you, I guess. Zara Sempire says, roll the drums for the first comment. I think Esther beat you to that, Zara's Empire. But it's good to have you, Zara's Empire, my nemesis. Yes, as always, I have my goons here, AY and Patrick in Mbaya Lufuluwabo. Yes. Why you say why not smiling? Oh yeah, AY, it's your turn to say why you are not smiling.
Okay, good morning, everyone. It's good to be here this morning. It's a wonderful, wonderful, special Saturday morning. Today is the 4th of July. And those who are in the United States, they know what that means. It's a very special day in the history of this great nation. And we are happy to be having this beautiful show on this very beautiful morning. So
Yes,
I want to say welcome to everyone who is listening in. And I want to say you should call your friends and your neighbor because we are about to have a wonderful, wonderful show this morning. And we want you to be part of it. Patrick, how's it going?
Yes, sir.
You're not
Good
here last
morning,
week.
good morning. Welcome
Where did you
back
go last
to Awesome Radio. This is Patrick once again on the 1, the 2, the 3, the Awesome Radio. It's an amazing Saturday morning. I mean, it's really hot outside, but it's an amazing Saturday morning
it is.
regardless. And it's
It's
supposed to
not
get
even-
to
it's not even
100.
hot yet.
Yeah, it's supposed to get to 100. But
Get
I don't
ready
know
for
why
hot
they're
time.
trying to prepare us for hell. But me personally, I'm going to heaven because I'm saved by the Lord Jesus Christ.
Hallelujah.
Everybody else, please give your lives to Christ before you.
Pastor
Yeah.
Patrick.
Yes.
Zara's Empire says, is that a new hairstyle? I think, Patrick, they are referring to you.
No.
Is that a
Just do
new-
like this.
It's the same. It's just
Is that a new hairstyle?
no, it's not. It's the
Do
same.
like this.
All right, guys. How's yours week been?
I think it's just there, Jan.
Yeah, my week was regular, tiring if anything.
So you were not here last week, and you told us you were going to a seminar,
Yes.
and then we ended up hearing things about some girl and you and Raleigh and all. Tell us about that a little.
Yeah, it was an amazing.
Yeah, you can see this guy
weekend.
is choking on something. Yeah, you went to see a girl.
No,
and you told us
no, relax,
that you
relax.
went to-
Calm down, calm down.
You know, I don't
So
support
it was
that.
calm down. Don't see in this world the river runs 2 ways.
See,
That's
this
not
guy
right
is
away.
see, it's all good. Yes,
Yes.
yes. So yeah, let me save you from
No,
all that.
don't.
Yes, hello everyone. It was a productive week from my end, and I'm glad to be here. Rex Joe says, yes, actually, that's a good thing. Tell us in the comments, how's your week been? How's yours week been? What have you been up to all week? Back in Nigeria or South Africa or Thailand or Cambodia or wherever you're watching us from. What have you been up to in the week? It's been an amazing time. So today is Independence Day here in the US. In case you didn't know, 4th of July is the October 1st equivalent for the United States. When is South Africa's Independence Day?
April 27th.
Oh, April 27th. Okay. Yeah, Zara's Empire said the Gen Z was trying to cook a proverb. Yes, he doesn't know anything about proverbs. Yes. Today is Independence Day in the US, and while many of us over here are thinking about fireworks, cookouts, and spending time with family and friends, yes, today we'll be taking a deeper look in, later in today's show about what independence really means. This is also Awesome Radio, and this is Pitt Perspectives. We'll be back right after the break. Don't touch that dial. Boom.
I'm Dr. Kyle Horner from Carolina Arthritis Center. Living with arthritis or joint pain doesn't have to limit your life. At Carolina Arthritis Center in Greenville, we're Eastern North Carolina's only private, single-specialty rheumatology clinic dedicated exclusively to your joint health. Our experienced team offers comprehensive care all under one roof, from consultations and joint injections to on-site laboratory, X-ray, bone density testing, and our specialized infusion suite. No more running around to multiple locations for your arthritis evaluation. When you need expert rheumatology care, choose the specialist who focus solely on conditions like yours every single day. Carolina Arthritis Center, where your mobility and comfort are our main priority. Call 252-321-8474 or visit carolina-arthritis.com to schedule your consultation today. Again, that number is 252-321-8474. Carolina Arthritis Center,
where your journey to health begins.
Awesome Radio. Yes, awesome, awesome, awesome. Can you hear it? Awesome, awesome,
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. This is Awesome Radio, and this is Pitt Perspectives. In case you're just joining us, you're tuned to the best radio show east of North Carolina. This is Pitt Perspectives, where we share stories, celebrate culture, and inspire community from right here to the rest of the world. Yes, this is a global stage for local stories. Yes, Esther Lamachadrak in the chat says, I had one of the most hectic week ever. I'm so glad the week is over. Wow. Well, I'm so glad the week is over for you too. Rex Joe says, happy independence to you guys. Well, we are not Americans yet, but yes, we'll take that. Ona go cook rice. So, will you guys cook rice? Well, I'll cook okra soup later in the day, but yes, no rice. Nathan Red says, hello guys, can someone explain why this year is running fast? Well, Gen Z is probably in the best position to explain why the year is
So I
running
can graduate
fast.
as soon as possible.
Yes, and join the millions of unemployed youth around the world. Yes.
This guy is
Yes.
crazy.
So, the FIFA World Cup just keeps delivering, guys. The round of
Yeah.
32 has produced some incredible matches, plenty of drama, and a few surprises. Now, I think the round of 16 begins today. Yes, Canada is playing Morocco today by 2 p.m. And I think Paraguay is playing France. Some of these matches look like a straightforward game, but we know about soccer, about football, that nothing is straightforward in football because anything can happen. So far, what has been your highlights game so far? And you can tell us in the chat too. I know some of you have been, hearing or seeing the World Cup too. What has been yours standout game? And by the way, we had our watch party on Monday for the USA versus Bosnia game, and I was glad the US won, which is incredible all the time.
They got a red card in that game.
Yes,
That
they did.
was
They
quite-
did. The Nigerian American.
Funny enough,
striker.
the issue with that is not even the game, because I knew they were still going to win that game. They were leading 1-0 already, anyways. is the fact
Okay.
that that guy is going to miss the next game.
Balogun, yeah,
And
he's been their
he's
top
their
goal scorer.
main
Right, right.
striker.
But
That's
then I
that's
read
the
something
thing.
about how even that red card can ultimately even unite them even more, give them something to fight for, help them. No, for real though, because football is about passion, football
Give
is
them
about heart.
Okay.
I mean, in terms of course, if they don't win the next game against Belgium on Monday,
losing your best player, at least by my own estimation, is never going to be an easy thing. For
definitely.
So
Definitely.
They're meeting.
Yeah,
Belgium. I
they're
mean,
going to feel
Belgium
it.
hasn't been
They are really
awesome
going- they are going
this
to feel it, but we'll see how
semester
that
too.
goes.
Yes, Eberos Okalu says in the chat, hello guys, it wasn't a good week for me, but I'm glad to be here. Your conversations help me relax and reflect. Wow, amazing. Come on, one time for Eberos Okalu. Yes. We are glad to have you all here. We missed some of you last weekend too. I hope you all can, join us. What will be amazing is maybe some many years later down the line to
Yes,
have
guys.
some of you all join us over here in the
Yes,
US.
yes.
for like
you can come back now, guys. I'm back. You can come back. You can come back, guys. I'm back now.
This guy has a what's it called?
Sorry, please
Delusions of grandeur. Yes. But yes, we're glad to have you all here. Yes. I think one of the things that is exciting is just seeing how much the World Cup has brought. Greenville is becoming like a soccer city, and I'm very, very, very impressed about that too. To see people come together like that. So on Monday we are having another watch party for the USA versus Belgium game. And then guys, the big one, drum roll, we've been nominated to the Daily Reflector Best of 2026. Come on, guys. Yes. So
Yes.
one of the biggest newspaper, brands out here, media brands that's been here over 100 years, they have this best of for 2026. Is a bunch of awards for different categories. So guys, we've been nominated in 2 categories. We've been nominated in the category of the best local podcast for Pitt Perspectives, and then also for best local social media influencer for Victor Ihuka. So guys, please go to the dailyreflector.com and see the best of. We'll probably share some of the information on our social media. Please go and vote for us. It's a big deal, especially doing this without a big budget for ads and marketing. So being placed on the same rank with some of the amazing brands around here is a really big deal. Yeah, Zara's Empire says he has what? Delusion of grandeur. Yes, look it up. My nemesis. Estola Mashedrak says, that's amazing. Congratulations. You're welcome. Wow, congratulations to you guys, Zaras. Yes, we'll take it. This is huge. Yes. Please. We want to bring this home, and thanks to you all, we'll definitely bring it home. So we'll be sharing some more information, about that on our social media. But first things first, let's get to our top community news recap, proudly presented by Carolina Arthritis Center, where your journey to health begins. Super shout out to Carolina Arthritis Center for always supporting community, for always supporting our conversation, and showing so much love. What do we have today, guys?
Yes, our first news here today says Pitt County students will receive free school meals again.
Yes, Pitt County schools will continue providing free breakfast and lunch to all students during the upcoming school year, marking the 4th straight year of free meals district-wide. School leaders say the program has increased student participation and helped families save money. However, officials expect this could be the final year that every student qualifies for free meals. Changes in federal eligibility rules may mean some schools will no longer qualify beginning in the 2027-28 school year, although final decisions won't be made until next spring. Yes, moving on.
We have Grifton residents to receive one combined property tax bill.
Yes, starting this month, July, Grifton property owners will receive one combined property tax bill instead of separate town and county bills. The new system is designed to simplify the payment process and make managing property taxes easier. Residents living in Pitt County will pay through Pitt County, while those in Lenoir, County will continue paying through Lenoir County. Officials say the change only applies to this year's taxes. Any unpaid taxes from previous years must still be paid separately. Yes, moving on, guys.
Yes, I have Greenville Police to install new crime fighting cameras.
Yes, the Greenville Police Department will soon install 10 flock safety cameras at key roads entering and leaving the city. The cameras read license plates and identify vehicle details to help officers solve crimes, recover stolen vehicles, and quickly locate missing or endangered people. Police says the cameras do not use facial recognition, record audio, or issue speeding tickets. They only photograph vehicles, and access is limited to authorized law enforcement officers. The department says the system has already helped solve local crimes and reunite missing people with their families. Yes, and in our final news of the day, guys.
We have ECU launches new College of Health and Human Sciences.
Yes, East Carolina University has officially combined its colleges of allied health sciences and health and human performance into the new College of Health and Human Sciences. The new college will serve about 4,600 students and prepare future professionals for careers in healthcare, wellness, and community services, especially in rural North Carolina. The merger is part of ECU's plan to reduce costs while strengthening academic programs. Led by founding Dean Nicole Bromfield, the college will continue emphasizing hands-on learning through internships, research, clinics, and community partnerships across Eastern North Carolina. Yes, that's all we have for you today on our top community news recap, proudly presented by Carolina Arthritis Center, where your journey to health begins. Yes, Estola Mashedrak says, we had in school day, I beg. Yes, I guess it was the Pitt County schools that serve food. That is interesting. Yes, Uchendu Jr. says, Happy Independence Day to everyone celebrating in America. Congratulations on the nomination. Your journey is proof that whatever consistently nurtured will grow. Wishing you even more success. Thank you, Chendun Jr. Please encourage everyone to go vote for us. Let's bring it home. We'll celebrate it here as always. James Brooks Studios says, did I hear free food? Yes, you had free food, but yes, you're probably over the age to receive it, because these are like, district schools like K through 12. But yes, this has been an amazing time so far on Pitt Perspectives on Awesome Radio. Yes, we'll be going on a quick ad break and we'll return for our community session right after the break. Boom.
Clemmy Family Care Home, registered by the state of North Carolina, is an adult age 55 and older independent living care home with facilities in Ayden, Winterville, and Greenville. Clemmy Family Care Home, 252-916-4466. Daily prepared meals available, fun activities, field trips, and more. We have private rooms and double rooms, professional medical staff, and 24-hour security at all facilities. Clemmy Family Care Home, 252-916-4466. Private pay, Medicaid, and Medicare accepted. Veterans are welcomed also. Visiting hours from 6 o'clock a.m. to 10 o'clock p.m. daily. To schedule a tour of our facilities and to learn more of what Clemmy Family Care Home has to offer, contact Tammy, 252-916-4466. That's 252-916-4466. Clemmy Family Care Home, an adult independent living care home with facilities in Ayden, Winterville, and Greenville.
Awesome radio. Yeah, it's awesome. Awesome. Can you hear it? Awesome. Awesome.
Yes. Welcome back. In case you're just joining us, you're tuned into Awesome Radio Network, and this is Pitt Perspectives. Yes, the show where we share stories, celebrate culture, and inspire community from right here in Eastern North Carolina to the rest of the world. Yes, and today in our Community Voices section, we are talking about independence. What does it really mean to be independent? Yes, AI Healthy Eating says congratulations on the nominations. I'm personally excited for this achievement. It shows that what you do here every weekend is making waves. Yes, what we do here every weekend, because you all are part of the family now. Yes, this week we're talking about what does it really mean to be independent. So, like we said, today is the 4th of July, and 4th of July is the America's Independence Day, just like October 1 is Nigeria's Independence Day, and then April 20, what? 27 is South Africa's unfortunate Independence Day, you know. But yes, every year millions of people around the world celebrate, the equivalent of the 4th of July with fireworks, family gatherings, and cookouts. But beyond the celebrations, what does independence really mean? Is it simply the freedom to make our choices, our own choices? Does it also come with responsibility? And in a world where we all rely on family, friends, and our community, can anyone ever truly be independent? So, today, along with you guys, we'll have an honest conversation about freedom, responsibility, and the relationship that shape our lives. And we'll also explore what independence looks like today, whether it means the same thing to everyone. So, here are our questions for today. What's the first thing that comes to mind when you hear the word independence? And the second one, can someone ever be completely independent? Or will we always depend on others in some way? And then the final question, has your understanding of independence changed as you've gotten older? So I'll take the questions again. What's the first thing that comes to mind when you hear the word independence? And can somebody ever be completely independent, or will we always depend on others in some way, shape, or form?
Yes.
Yes, the final one, has your understanding of independence changed as you've gotten older? Yes, you can always call us on our phone lines, 252-756
2008.
2008. Yes, 252-756-2008. And you can, if you're calling from outside the US, you can always add +1 252-756-2008. Or you can also drop your perspectives in the comments, or email us at hello.pitperspectives@gmail.com. So I'll tell the question one more time. What's the first thing that comes to mind when you hear the word independence? And then, can someone ever completely be independent, or will we always depend on others in some way? Yes, final question, has your understanding of independence changed as you've gotten older? Yes. Zara Sempaya said, why did you say unfortunate for SA?
Yes.
Yes, for a lot of reasons. Nonetheless, the Gen Z here, who is a thorn in our flesh. Yes, Mugeni Byron says, someone's goat is independently surviving on penalties. Byron, downtown. Please say it with your full chest.
Yes.
Whose goats are you referring
AYZ.
to?
And
He's talking about
whose
AYZ
goals cannot
goals.
even score penalty. Some people's goals cannot even score. They gave them penalty, he can't score.
He missed it he missed
Why
it
are
on
you
purpose
scotching?
so that he could.
Wait. Sorry. You said what? Say it
He
again.
missed it on purpose so he could score that beautiful goal out.
Wait,
That's
wait.
the silly-
Say one
that's
more.
the
Say one more.
silliest thing
Like,
I've
no,
heard
no,
all
no,
week.
wait. Let him say one more time.
He missed it on purpose so that he could score that beautiful outside the box.
All
goal
right,
after.
guys, we have a serious question.
I
in
just
the
want to be
chat.
sure that was
Hold
not a
on,
slip of
hold
the
on.
tongue. Like you
We have-
actually thought of it and you said it out
It's
loud.
fine. See, Zara Empire said, let's first define independence. Let the three hosts say what independence means in one or few words.
Yes.
So, Gen Z,
No,
No, let's start from
yes,
here,
Victor,
actually.
let's start from here.
what's that?
Define
You have the
independence.
mic.
Yes, yeah. So
I mean, independence.
Just
means,
keep doing it already,
Independence
already
means leaving my father's house first.
Okay.
You know, independence meant being able to pay for my own haircut. Because for the longest time, my dad would always pay my haircuts, and he would always dictate what style I barbed. So actually, that's how I got, before the other things. That's how I got to cutting my hair. Because he wants everything shaved, and I have a big head. So I'm not always, yeah, they are laughing, my enemies. But yes, independence means being able to
just
do,
agree. We didn't laugh.
being
okay.
able to do what you want, when you want, where you want, and being able to have the resources to do it, I think. But I also think independence come with responsibility, and it's interesting too because in the American culture, the culture emphasizes freedom, independence, and all that, and I think that's why this topic is very timely. Yes, Rex Joe says some people's goats cannot eat. Yeah, what is going on? Omotayo, yes, great to have you, Omotayo. Hola, people, how are you all doing? Yes, we're doing amazing. We're doing amazing. Great, great, great to have you on the show, Omotayo. Yes, thank you for always representing. We love having you all here. Esther Olama Shedrack says, what comes to my mind whenever I hear independence is freedom. Freedom to make choices. But then my best friend said something about free will being an illusion. What do we think about that? Yes, this is getting very philosophical very soon. And I think between the two of you, who is the most philosophical? Yes,
AY.
AY is Bible philosophical. What do you think, AY? Is free will an illusion or is it a real thing?
I mean, I think I understand where Esther is coming from, but
Okay.
I don't want to go there yet. Let me just like generally speaking. Yeah, I
Okay.
agree with the parts. There was this example that Victor gave of
Right.
being able to pay for your own haircut
Yes.
and then decide which
Yeah.
style you want to.
Yes.
So I'll just say to that effect, being independent is having that power to make your own
Yes.
choices. Yeah, and it's important because it does not necessarily mean that you can't have other people, probably help out or
Okay.
support you in anything you're doing. And this even applies to even countries, different countries. You can still have, support from other nations. You can still have support from other people, but it doesn't stop you or preclude the fact that you are independent because you still have power of choice. And I think where you begin to withdraw your own independence is when the help or assistance you are getting from outside is now controlling you. So I have this mindset that, and that is my own idea of my own independence, that no matter what anybody is doing to help or any country is trying to help you with, and this also goes back to Africa as a continent, the fact that some people are maybe giving aids or trying to help you shouldn't stop you from being able to make your own decisions. So the moment you are getting aid or help that is stifling that power of choice, then you stop being independent.
Amazing stuff. But we'll still get back to that. Let's go to the comments. Ebero Zokalo says, I think a lot of people misunderstand independence. Independence isn't about needing no one. It's about choosing your dependencies wisely. I think that's a very interesting perspective. What do you guys think? Agreed? Choosing your
So
dependencies wisely.
I'm trying to look for that comment.
Ebero Zokalo, I think it's the second to last.
Okay.
While Omotayo says, independence is the ability not just to make choices, but also to live with the results or aftermaths of those choices or decisions.
Yeah.
Agreed? I think you wanted to say something.
Yes.
Yes.
No, I just wanted to agree with,
Right. So,
Carlo.
going back to your, Sestola Mashedrak says, I agree with Ebere. Yes, we do agree with Ebere too. But I'm wondering, because now we are thinking two different things, right? On the micro level, it's personal independence, freedom, right? And then on the macro level, we are thinking nations, groups and all that. Now I'm thinking, for one, which is interesting about the American culture, like we established earlier, the American culture emphasizes freedom. And that's one of the things Americans hold tightly. They tell you about the First Amendment rights, Second Amendment, the rights to own a gun, the rights to, in some states, there are stand your ground laws, where if someone is coming at you, you can, I'll probably model this. You can stand your ground, and get back at them,
I know what you're supposed
Right.
to say. You get
Right. So it's a very, very interesting thing. And then on a national level, we are thinking about, I'm thinking, is there really true independence? Because chances are any nation that gives you aid, whatever that looks like, or some partnership, there is always a power thing involved. Right?
yes.
And then
Yes.
there is also that influence, because sometimes influence is exerted in these really soft manners. Yes, this is Awesome Radio. We'll get back to this amazing conversation right after the break. Don't touch that. Boom.
From the Pacific Justice Institute, this is The Legal Edge, defending your rights as a Christian, a parent, and a citizen. Here's Brad Dacus.
PJI client Mark Asen was jailed for more than 800 days simply for sending emails criticizing the government. PJI attorney David Peters plans to appeal his conviction. This is an extremely important case because it raises serious concerns about the constitutional rights of free speech and petitioning the government. Political speech lies at the heart of constitutional freedoms. Please pray for Mark Asen and for PJI as it continues defending free speech and constitutional rights.
PJI provides legal representation without charge. Get exclusive email updates by registering for the Legal Insider at pji.org.
Yes, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. In case you're just joining us, you're tuned into Awesome Radio Network, and this is Pitt Perspectives, the show where we share stories, celebrate culture, and inspire community from right here in Greenville, Eastern North Carolina, to the rest of the world. Yes, and today we're talking about independence on this auspicious occasion of America's Independence Day celebration. We're talking about independence. What does it really mean to be independent? And it's going down in the comment section. Zara Empire says, real independence is having enough character, skills, and financial stability that your relationships are based on choice rather than desperation. Interesting, right?
Yes.
Clock
yes.
it.
Yes, clock it. Your Gen Z partner in crime says clock it. Mugeni Byron says independence is a scam in exclamation marks. There is nothing like being independent. Yes, please unpack that, Mugeni Byron. Please, we would like to hear why you think independence is a scam. Yes, Uchendu Njonyo says no human being is completely independent. The clothes we are wearing, the food we eat, the roads we drive on, the internet we are using to have this conversation all exist because people contributed. Civilization itself is built on interdependence. The strongest societies aren't the most independent. They are the ones where people depend on each other responsibly. Interesting. Yes, Zara Empire goes on to say, I think we need to narrow this down. We are all right, but I don't think we are answering the questions according to context. That is interesting. So, I'll take the question again. What's the first thing that comes to mind when you hear the word independence? Right? Now, can someone ever, that's the second question now, can someone ever be completely independent, or will we always depend on others in some way? And now the third one, has your understanding of independence changed as you've gotten older? You know, so that's the context. But I think everyone is right in their own way, because we are thinking about the word independence and what it means. Because even in the context of nations like Nigeria got its independence in 1960, 1st October. Who did you all get your independence from? England, British?
The British.
Oh yeah, damn, those guys are everywhere. But yes, it's really yes. So independence across board. What does that mean? Whether it's financial independence or emotional independence, you know. But judging from, okay, let's get to the comment and then I'll say it. Esther Lamma Shedrack says humans are wired to depend on others. Correct? Right. So Rex Joe says before financial independence comes mental independence. If your opinions change based on whoever is speaking the loudest, you are not independent. And then Rex Joe goes on to say, if social media determines your self-worth, you are not independent. The greatest freedom is learning how to think critically instead of simply repeating what your environment tells you. That's also an interesting take. So, to your point, Zara Empire, I'm still trying to find out the person behind that account, because, you know, you give very, very insightful takes when you are not on my neck. But yes, I think independence is a spectrum. So it goes from being less independent to more independent or something. So I think it's nuanced. By that I say there is no absolute independence, and then there is no absolute, well, I guess there can be absolute dependence, but there is no. I don't think there's an absolute um independence too. Just like here in the US, there is a lot to talk about freedom. Free speech is a thing, is enshrined in the Constitution. I guess it's one of the biggest political talking points here in the US, And I think, too, to your point, Rex, Joe, I feel like we are affected by our environment more than we would like to admit. In terms of, which is why even the Bible says to, always, I think Joshua will continually have your word in my heart or something. The more you read the Bible, the more you listen to these messages, and for instance, your mindset is sort of changed. Your mind, you're renewing your mind, sort of. And that goes for whatever literature you consume, whether it's social media. So it has a way of unconsciously affecting you. And because our brain takes in so much stimulus, it's very, very easy to outsource our thinking, because you want to get to your whatever you have to do with the least amount of resources. But yes, this conversation is not about me. Gen Z, I'm still waiting for you to say something. But let's get to Omotayo in the chat. Omotayo says independence translates to freedom, but like Esther said, freedom is an illusion. The concept of total freedom is not achievable. Yes, let the Gen Z say something now. Yes. All right, Gen Z, say something.
Well, I don't know why you're putting me on the spot, but yes, I know. Yes.
I mean, you're the most free generation of all the generations.
Exactly. So I was using my freedom to listen. Yeah. So when it comes to independence, I think what comes to my mind is, like you said, being able to afford the decision of choice.
Okay.
Like, my biggest example would be my parents would pay for my hairstyle, but they would never allow me to braid my hair. But here we are, So it's.
So
it's
this is
like
your independence. So you're
Bro.
independent now.
I was traumatized by, like, I had to walk, and I don't remember how many miles it was. You know how we have punk back in the day? After babbing off everything, they will leave out a little in the front and then make a part here. I did that on my dad's dime, and he sent me back to the barber shop. Make sure you clear everything, bro.
Oh, you made a line.
It's a hairstyle. He wants everything shaved, clean shaven, so it doesn't grow up fast, and you have to pay again in 2 weeks. So, yes, that was my first taste of thinking, okay, maybe if I can save up money, I can get to pay for my own haircuts. Wow. And then I realized that if you save up money, it's not only haircuts you have to be paying for.
Rent.
Yes, there's a lot of things you have to, pay for, which is interesting too. But yes, did you want to continue? I'm trying to read some of the comments.
No, I can read where
so Motayo says, you can be independent, yet independence. Don't leave me. Don't
leave me.
James Brooks Studio says, everyone wants freedom, but freedom without responsibility becomes chaos. Independence isn't simply doing whatever you want. It's accepting the consequences of your choices without blaming others.
Absolutely.
That's why maturity and independence grow together. Ooh. That's a lot of things.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes. Uchendu Njonye says, do you think this generation will eventually abuse this freedom they have? I mean, they have more freedom than the previous generations. Ironically, the more successful you become, the more people you depend on. I think so. But I think conversely, too, the more
people depend on you.
Yes, and the more you don't need to depend on people in the same way they depend on you. I mean, I think maybe color is not the word, but I think the specifics of those things change. What's that?
Yes, Patrick is off.
Oh yeah.
But yes, so let me just pick it up from where you stopped. So I think it was Esther that started talking about the fact that independence is an illusion, and Byron also said, being independent is also, he also mentioned that I think he used the word scam or something.
Right.
So I think the idea of being totally independent might
Right.
sound like off, truly, because like people have said in the charts, as human beings we are codependent in a sense,
Right.
because we tend to rely on each other. Somebody also gave the example of the clothes we wear were made by somebody else, and things like that. So nobody can live. Nobody's an island. Nobody can just live in that vacuum alone.
Right.
You need other people to to be what you are. So I understand where that is coming from. I think my own sense of independence is coming from what we established as the power of choice.
Okay.
And I also mentioned that it doesn't stop you from being able to receive help from other people or being able to get things from other places.
Right.
It just means that you still, at the end of the day, the box stops on your desk, right? So
Right.
regardless of what you're getting from elsewhere, you still have that power of choice to either say no to them even sometimes, or receive if you want to, right? So it doesn't stop you from still making choices.
Right.
And I mentioned that the moment those help or grants or whatever for a country or even a person is getting from other places begin to dictate what they do, then they begin to lose that independence.
I see what you mean.
Yes, so it doesn't mean that we are still not depending on, the whole idea of international trade still comes to the fact that there's no country that has all the resources. So you still need to trade with other countries to get other things from them. But it doesn't stop you from being able to say, okay, this is what we want to get from you, and this is how much you are paying.
Right.
And you still have that power of negotiation to say, okay, this is what I want.
Right.
So the moment as a country or as a person, you don't have that power of negotiation anymore to decide what help or grant or aid or even transaction you're doing with other people, then you begin to lose that independence.
Interesting.
you get-
So Omotayo says, "Una sure say this topic go finish today. This is deeper than deep." Yes, it is, and would love to, talk about it. Zara's Empire says success isn't about eliminating dependence. It's about building relationships where everyone creates value for one another. Let's talk about emotional independence. Let's break it down.
Okay, please
Again,
start breaking it down.
Yes, let's
see.
please start.
So
start,
before
start,
Zara
Zara's
breaks
Empire.
that down,
Yes.
I also wanted to mention when people take their freedom too far
Okay.
and it becomes a bondage. So I'm trying to look for an example. So let's say
This is America.
you have free will, right? You want to do
Okay.
anything you like.
You want
That's
to
fine.
test it.
And then you begin to do things like, say, abuse substances. That's
Okay.
free will, right?
That's exploring your free will.
That is freedom.
So
But you take it to a point where you get into bondage into something else, and it gets too far where you can't even stop doing it again. But it was freedom and independence that took
But
you
that
there.
could be
But now you
said
are-
for literally anything.
That's
but
what I'm
yeah.
saying. So there is, and I think somebody has mentioned it in passing here. So,
Right.
but I can't remember who it was. But like the idea of you having freedom, but not letting that freedom get you to the point where you now get into bondage of something else.
So this- okay.
You have the right to. So I think people say things joking like, say, there is freedom of speech, but freedom after
Yes,
speech is.
okay.
Do you understand? So you have free will, quite all right. You have the freedom, independence. You can do as you like, quote and unquote. But there are still limits, because
Right.
if we allow everybody to go to the last extent of their free will, we are going to be in chaos. That brings us to
Yeah,
a state of anarchy.
I see
right?
what you mean. I see what
Yeah.
you mean. But I'm also thinking, in addition to what you say, that
Yes.
I've always believed, people think about a blank state theory, tabula rasa,
Yeah.
and then there is also the nature versus nurture
Mm-hmm.
type thing. And I feel like when you come right down to it, again, like someone says, free will is an illusion of sorts, in the sense that, again, like we said earlier, the things you take on influences you in ways you don't even know, whether it's the things you see or the things you read or the things you hear. Those things have huge effects on us and how we go around in the world, which is why you probably would have heard here about how there were issues around a certain nation influencing election results
Yeah.
here, or even how during elections people do psychological operations, how the things you see on social media sometimes are bots trying to shape people's minds to think in certain directions, or even how our data is being used, how you say something or even think something, and the moment you open social media, you're seeing it. So when you think about it, you realize that ultimately freedom or free will seems to not be we are not as free as we think. You know, again, there is also even the gene aspect. When people say you can't outrun your gene because certain propensities, certain behavioral characteristics are embedded in the genes too. Again, so when you put all these things together, you realize that when you think about it, independence, again, like we have all agreed on, true complete independence is not even possible. And again, like I said earlier, I feel like it's a dial of sorts. It's a spectrum. Even with emotional independence, being able to rely on yourself mostly for your emotional needs is a big deal. You know, because there are people who are codependent. It's a real thing. Talk to any therapist. They'll tell you, you know, things that have to do with, you know, people's sense of self and all of those things. You know, people who have to depend on others, or people who have to depend on attention on social media, for instance, to be able to, you know, feel their emotional sense of worth go up. So I think, again, there cannot be true independence, whether it's emotional or even with nations too. We were told independence, but when you think about it, the systems, there are still systems from the colonizers that are still affecting these nations many, many decades after that. You see what I mean? There are also all these systems of influences. People have talked about IMF, the International Monetary Fund, and the kind of loans and they give and some of the things they ask from countries to be able to do all that.
Okay, so
you see what I mean? So it's a whole thing.
I honestly don't want to get political, but I still have to.
Let's do it.
I still have
Get
to
political.
Say, so I know that there are always, you know, there's this idea, and I'm not trying to say that these ideas are not correct.
Right.
But like you said, some of these conversations are very nuanced.
Right.
There's this idea that, you know, especially I'll speak for Africa, that there are still colonial influences, which
Right.
I do not
Agree.
I'm not disagreeing with.
Okay.
I agree there are
Okay.
colonial influences, but what I'm getting at is the fact that it does not mean that it's not possible to be independent. It is very possible to be independent.
In theory,
It is-
yes.
Even in reality, I feel like, and I might be wrong on this one, but I think that as for most African countries that are not truly independent, it is still in their hands if they want to be independent.
So give me
I
an
f-
example of an African country that's truly
I
independent.
don't want I'm saying that are not.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't want to call names of any country, but I'm
Okay.
saying that if there are external influences or even colonial influences, Western influences that are bringing that they are you know exerting that weight on any African country today,
Right.
it is because the country or the leaders of those countries have allowed it. And to the extent that those countries or the leaders of those countries decide to not allow those influences anymore, those influences will go. Because if you claim to be independent,
Right.
at the end of the day, we are in the world that we are in today, you cannot necessarily, I don't think any of those countries are, quote and unquote, stealing what they are getting. I feel like there is still a lot of access coming from the countries and the leaders of those countries. So for example, when people say things like, now I'm going to have to mention maybe countries like, say, Burkina Faso or Senegal, or countries that are, you know, with the that were colonized by the French, you realize that they say things that, oh, the French, they still get a lot of resources from them and probably get that, you know, some very ridiculous rates. I'm saying that the moment the leaders of those countries decide that we are not going to give this to you, we are going to have this to come to the negotiation table and get this thing the way every other person gets it, that will be the case. You cannot and twist them to get those things. The worst they will do is to say, okay, if you don't give you this, we will not give you this.
I mean,
Which is fair enough if after, and I said these things a lot, when people blame the colonialists for doing this, and I say, yes, it is wrong what they did, but this has been 60 odd years after those independence.
Bro, I like your,
what have you guys been doing with it?
I like your,
for over 60 years.
I like your.
My point is we cannot keep blaming
I get
those
what you
external
mean.
influences.
I see what
they have to make your own choices regardless of what every other person outside is doing.
Right.
So we can't keep blaming them. For how long? It's been 60 odd years.
So
What are we
I
doing?
have a
do you
response for
want me
that.
to
though.
switch the beats?
So
Because
wait,
is rapping now.
wait.
so.
I have something to say to that, but let's get to the comments. Uchendu Njonye says emotional independence doesn't mean never asking for help. It means not making someone else responsible for your happiness. Even that too, you can't completely achieve that, because if you're in a relationship with someone, there's a certain level of expectation that you make, them responsible for your happiness on some level. But I see what you mean. Estola Mashedrak says 90% of our choices are tied to someone else's choice. We unconsciously make choices having others in mind. So no one can be completely independent. Agreed. Zara Empire says, let's talk about the dangers of fake independence. Please tell us a little about fake independence. All right. So, Uchendun Jones says, do we think technology changed the meaning of independence because it makes us feel more independent because we can do more on our own? Yes, that's a really good angle. But yes, something else I wanted to say to your point is, Eberu Zokalu says, let's clarify independence and isolation. Before we get to the break, I wanted to say, I like your very passionate, way of looking at the situation in Africa. But if you read history, a ton of countries in the world, not just in Africa, have had their leaders killed for those same things because it's difficult at scale. Well, this is Awesome Radio, and this is Pitt Perspectives. We'll get back to this right after the break. Don't touch that dial. Boom.
Looking for a place where community, healthy living, and entrepreneurship come together? Journey Cafe in Greenville is more than a cafe. It's a platform for opportunity. Sip healthy smoothies, shop local products, and support entrepreneurs growing their dreams right here in Eastern North Carolina. Journey Cafe is also seeking investors and community partners who believe in building stronger communities together. Visit Journey Cafe at 401 Evans Street in Greenville. Journey Cafe. Step into your journey today.
Do you have documents that need to be notarized? We provide notary services by appointment 252-756-3137.
Awesome radio. Yeah, it's awesome. Awesome. Can you hear it? Awesome. Awesome.
Well, we agreed that freedom is. Yes, welcome back. This has been Awesome Radio, and this has been Pitt Perspectives. Yes, it's been an amazing time here, hearing from yours perspective. And I mean, how amazing that on America's, I think, 250th Independence Day anniversary, we are having such a passionate and emotional conversation about independence. Yes, Mugeni Byron says we will have to keep blaming them because the system was created to keep us that way.
Yes.
You can't run away from it.
Yeah, someone said
Rex said, Byron,
one
one beer for you.
Wait, AY,
Okay.
I wanted to say something too, and I agree with what AY is saying because of systems.
AY or Byron?
But I mean,
Byron.
I'm using Byron's point to.
Right, I agree with what
I
AY.
agree with Byron to kind of disagree.
yeah,
with
yeah,
what
But you
AY
said you
said.
agree with AY, but yeah.
I mean, I
Just
agree
go ahead,
partially with what
because
he
of
said.
time. Go
Okay,
Yes.
go ahead.
So, he mentioned that once the leaders decide, that, hey, if we, bring the conversation to
Right.
the table, this, and that. So, what I want you to understand, AY, is that there's systems, like Baron said, that are in place. And a person can only do so much. And many people realize it that, I mean, I'm not saying I've seen what it means, but like once you get power, you realize that there's so much power that you have.
Right.
Like all these leaders, I'm sure there are people like us. In
Right.
fact, even better than us because they've been able to get into these positions of power.
Right.
So, they have some sort of intelligence and maturity and resources available to them to be able
Right.
to do what they say they want to do. But sometimes they don't get to do what they say they want to do because once they get there, the landscape is different. There's all these systems that have been... Systems are in place, You know what a system is.
And it takes time to build
Yes,
systems
it
too.
takes a long time.
But
to-
yes, hold on. Let's get to the charts before so we don't miss it. Azuleta 1920 says, I think it's important to note that 60 years is a relatively small amount of time to resolve issues that we are several hundred years in the making. Especially when resources were stripped and people were coerced into changing their identity. Interesting.
So I wanted to reply to. I disagree with Byron like 100%, like totally disagree.
Byron,
with
AY disagrees
and I will
with
tell
you.
you what I mean.
Right,
There's this local saying that we have, like, when you are
Say
young.
it in Yoruba now.
It's not a local. No, it's not
Okay.
a language saying.
Okay.
When you are young, you see, you blame your background and
Right.
say, because of my background I can't do this. When you
Right.
get to like age 30, you become that background. that if you don't move on from it, your children will now start blaming you as the background or privilege, whatever they did not have in the future. So I'm saying that, yes, I am not denying the fact that things were done, like as the letter said, resources were stripped. In fact, identities were stripped.
Right.
And I agree totally with that. And I mentioned that also, that if we get into that conversation, we are not going to end.
You agree with her, but you don't agree
I
with him.
agree with her totally.
Wow.
Things were, and I'm also going to blame them for what they did. But that's not the conversation for today.
Okay.
The conversation for today is that since we gained independence, what have we done? What direction have we moved in? And I'm saying this because look at a lot of African countries and other third world countries. You look at the direction they are moving as a country and the kind of decisions that their leaders are taking on behalf of those people.
Right.
You realize that there is nothing to move forward with. See, let me tell you something. A lot of countries, a lot of weak countries, are the ones that are putting their citizens in vulnerable positions because of decisions that they are making for these countries. You know, as much as they're saying, systems are difficult to build, this, that, and so, I'm saying that when you begin to move in the direction of progress, you will know, you can see it.
Right. So let's
the direction that most of these countries are going is not the direction of progress.
Right. So talking about colonization, which is great leaders and great followers who depend on them forever. They create people who can think, decide, and lead without constant supervision. That's the real independence, empowering others, not making them permanently dependent on you. Omotan says AY is on steroids. Check all the OPs. I hope our audio is coming through well. Yes, as Leta said, I hear what you're saying true, and I agree there needs to be some ownership of responsibility for whatever now is within one's control. Yes. Also, there's a big echo. I think someone did you mute your mic? No. I hope it's better now.
It should be.
Yeah. It's better now.
I hope it's better now. Yes, it's been a very, very spirited conversation, and I wish we can have this whole conversation again. I mean, we enjoy just hearing you all talk about your stuff, and I think you should be a politician too, so you see how it is. So I mean, I feel like, one last point, I feel like it takes, when you come to systems like Africa, because you have a lot of people who have different ideas of what it means to be or even different honor, levels of honor. For instance, you will always have sellouts, because when you think about it, for every group of people who have had their leader killed or taken out of it,
there was a Judas.
It was always done with people from that community. So that's also something to keep in mind.
Even Jesus had Judas.
Right. And then when you have a ton of people who are struggling to make their end, which is why people think that the goal is to keep people constantly, struggling. Because if you're struggling, chances are you can't think of anything else but survival. Yes, Seberus Okalu said, I enjoyed this session. Yes, we enjoyed having you all too.
We should bring buttons.
Yes.
Survival is part of survival is looking forward into the future also.
Okay.
And don't let your situation today stop you from what you get tomorrow.
Right.
Because in the name of because that's the excuse we give, and I don't want to get into Nigeria, but that's the excuse a lot of people give about Nigeria. Oh, they're trying to survive. You want to survive, but you jeopardize the next 4 years for what you will get for one weekend.
But that's the thing about poverty. That's the thing about all of those things. AY, the entire world runs on systems which are created and not individual thoughts. Everyone might think like what AY is saying, but there is nothing you would do about the system. No, I don't believe that actually. But I feel like I feel like we all have a sense of urgency. Well, so lastly, on Monday, we are having a watch party at Nash Hot Chicken for the USA vs. Belgium round of 16 game. We'll have raffles, giveaway items. Please come out to downtown Greenville if you can. And we also have
Greenville Independence Celebration today at Town Common from 6 to 9 p.m.
Yes, amazing stuff. So remember, freedom is not something we celebrate. It's something we live through our actions. See you next week. Boom.